for today's video, I wanted to tell you my tips and tricks for dealing with an oily scalp. If you are someone who has naturally oily skin, or if you get blowouts or don't want to wash your hair every day, which is healthier for it, but at the same time you don't want an oily scalp, then these tips are for you. Being an oily monster and an acne-prone person myself, I definitely deal with a lot of oil, and I've come up with quite a few tips and tricks to really help combat that. And especially since I heat process my hair, I want to make that style last as long as possible. Yet at the same time, I don't want my scalp and my entire head of hair to be super oily. So I wanted to teach you my tips and tricks and some of my favorite products for kind of combating that issue. So first off, let's get to the root of the problem. What causes an oily scalp? Well, not washing your hair for a couple of days, which is healthier for it, but at the same time that can cause a little bit of oil. Genetics can be a huge factor for an oily scalp, but also just having scalp dehydration. If your skin is super dry, it produces more oil to kind of combat that. Same thing with your scalp. If your scalp is super dry, it'll kind of create more oil to try to moisturize it and bring it back to balance. So if you take showers that are really hot, that could actually be dehydrating your scalp and making it drier overall, which in turn makes the body produce more oil and your scalp gets oilier. Another one could be running your hands through your hair too often. If you're the kind of person who's always touching your hair, that naturally disperses oils throughout your hair, which does make your hair look shiny, but if you're doing that around your scalp, it can cause things to get a lot more oily than they should. So when it comes to combating a dry scalp, most people say dry shampoo, but because that is so obvious, I'm going to leave that tip out. The first thing that I have used for my personal oily scalp has been a miracle, and this is actually a pre-shampoo mask. This is literally a clay mask that you spread into your hair, and you know how you have like a face mask that you leave on your face? This is the exact same thing, only for your hair and for your scalp. Now this is targeted for oil control. This is made in Spain and it actually has clay in it. I obviously have been obsessed because I've used up the whole thing. You spread this onto your scalp and the clay literally sucks up the oils in your scalp and kind of hydrates your scalp at the same time, and it stays on for like 10 to 15 minutes or even 20. Then you go in the shower, you wash it out and it looks all green and you're like, oh my god, I'm like the Loch Ness monster in my shower, even though you're not, but you kind of feel that way, so you feel cool. And then you just go on with regular shampooing and conditioning, and after you do it a few times, maybe like once a week, your scalp becomes less and less oily because it's rebalancing and rehydrating. And the clay in here also helps to soak up the oil. So this is from Desange, and I hope that I'm pronouncing that correctly because I am the queen at mispronunciations. But it is the Desange Paris Purifying Clay Balancing Pre-Shampoo Mask. And I swear to God, this stuff is amazing. Another thing that I've absolutely loved is natural aloe vera. When you think about it again, our scalps can get a little bit oily because they're too dry, but there is really nothing that kind of moisturizes your scalp without making your hair super greasy. Something I love to do is take natural aloe vera and just break off a leaf. And you know how when you break off a leaf of aloe vera, it has like that stringy, sticky, kind of pasty stuff? This aloe vera stuff is extremely healing, especially for sunburns and things like that. But when you put this on your scalp, it is the perfect scalp moisturizer, especially if you deal with a flaky scalp or if you have scabs on your scalp, or if you need a little bit more moisture. This is the perfect way to do that. You layer it on, it is super healing, and it helps to hydrate the scalp so it doesn't need to create as much oil. Just focus it on the scalp. You can sleep with it overnight. You can use it again before the shower, or depending on how dry it is, you can actually get away with wearing it every single day. But just get an aloe vera plant, start using this on your sunburns, on your pimples, and right here on your scalp to kind of hydrate and get rid of some of that oil. The third and last thing that I was totally not expecting, but I actually found a huge benefit in my hair, is hair perfume. Now, hair perfume is kind of like this new product that's on the market. I've seen it at Sephora with like Dior and stuff. It's basically long-lasting perfume for your hair that lasts 12 hours, but it doesn't destroy your hair as if you sprayed regular perfume into it. And all of that's cool and all. I found that it doesn't really do a lot for my hair, it just kind of makes it smell good. However, this is one brand called Bait, and it is the just Bait hair perfume. This one is in the scent of Skinny Dipper, but they have a whole bunch of different ones as well. But I've noticed that when I use hair perfume, it makes my scalp a little bit less oily. Now again, if you're the kind of person who sprays hair perfume in your hair and runs your fingers through it, probably won't work as well because your fingers are going to disperse the oil. But I found that when I spray this at my scalp, it gives it kind of a nice lift without making it oily. It's really amazing. You just kind of spray it on, and again, they say that the scent does last for about 12 hours. I notice it lasts anywhere from 5 to 8 depending on what I'm doing that day, but that is just what it is, and I have found that it does help to combat an oily scalp. Can y'all hear people like clanking dishes over there? I don't know if that's the cat or if that's my parents. I don't know what's going on, but I'm just gonna sit here and pretend like nothing's breaking so that hopefully that means that I don't have to clean it up. So these are just my 3 tips and tricks that I have found for dealing with an oily scalp, and it's perfect because I am naturally oily prone, and it is also perfect because I do like to wear my hairstyles a little bit longer when I heat process them. These 3 things have been the perfect tips for me, and if you're someone who deals with an oily scalp too, then I definitely hope this helps. And I do post new videos every Monday and every Thursday, so hit subscribe if you haven't already, and if you have personal questions, I do have my iPhone app. I try my best to respond to everybody who sends me a message on there. So if you want to talk one-on-one, download my iPhone app and see what you can do. It's called Cassandra Bankson, and it's all sorts of beauty tips. We have makeup Mondays, we have skincare Saturdays, we have workout Wednesdays. It's a whole bunch of fun, and you should definitely check it out. But I love you guys. I hope that you are fabulous, and I hope that your scalp will no longer be oily if you try some of these tips. And again, new videos every Monday and every Thursday, so I will see you all in the next video. Love you guys. Bye.